Hello, it's Lucas here, and I've got a LEGO set showcase for you. This is set 6780 XT Starship, and it released back in 1986. Now let's start off with the minifigure. Now this is a pretty standard yellow spaceman. Now this one that I got is actually in really good condition. If you look at the moon, it's still very shiny. It is a little off-centered, but I don't really mind too much. I already have like 3 of these guys. I have more of the yellow spaceman than any other color, so I'm not too bothered about a misprinted moon. But there he is. He's pretty nice, pretty special. Now let's move on to the actual XD Starship. I forgot to note that I do actually have the original instructions. So here they are. You can see the ship right here and then the alternate build. They've seen better days, clearly. And you can see the do's and don'ts of the battery box. You can read those for yourself if you want to. There it is. Obey the following points concerning the proper use of the battery box. All right. And you can just see there's pretty nice, these this instruction book has definitely seen better days, but it's just, you can see it just, it's pretty nice. These were all like hand drawn, I think. Not like this one was hand drawn, but like they were drawn and then, printed out. But there it is. You can see on the back it's got a LEGO logo. And this does say this is from 1985 and not 1986, so I guess Bricklink is wrong. Anyway, back to the normal video. So we're going to start off by looking at the front of the ship, which is this front module. You can see right up at the front, it's got whatever the heck this is supposed to be, kind of like a satellite or like a sensor, I don't know. Or, it could be just a gun. It could just be a laser turret or whatever, super powered. But we move further on with this really nice angled piece, and then these round 2x2 plates, which give it a really interesting shape. I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of the lack of wedge pieces anywhere. I feel like they should have put at least like wedge pieces here just to kind of give it some angle rather than just this very stair-steppy look almost. I don't know if stair-step would look or is really the best, but it's very blocky. That's better. Now it has these little arms in the front. I don't know what these are for either, but they kind of look cool, so I guess that's why they had those there. And down on the bottom, you can see we got several engines. This is a very engine-heavy module. You can see up here, you've got these super-powered engines. There are these nice big ones, really cool pieces with tubes running down to the stabilizers or the thruster stabilizer. I think that's what they're supposed to be, so you can move back and forth and stuff like that, side to side, back and forth, all that good stuff. Now up here we've got these laser turrets, or I don't know, maybe just antennas. You never really know, because you don't expect LEGO to really want this to be a warcraft, but when you look at something like that, it's kind of, it kind of looks like a gun. Anyway, moving further on, you've got these nice red antennas, and then this 1x4 brick with all these like lines on it. I think it's maybe some sort of exhaust vent, something like that, but it looks really nice, really cool. And then we got this nice blue canopy. It's a really nice sharp blue, and I think it looks really good compared to the white and black and red of the rest of the craft. It's just a cool color to have, especially for this canopy. On the inside, it's all black seating, and then this nice light gray control panel. It's a pretty standard control panel, and you can find it in a few other colors, so it's pretty cool. Like on the Xenon X craft that I reviewed earlier last year, it came in the set as a blue piece, which I thought was pretty interesting. And of course, moving on from that, you can put the minifigure in there, but I'm not going to put them in there because I want to keep them out here for other things later on. In the back, you can see the whole thing is connected just by one Technic pin that'll slot right into there. Pretty nice. It's pretty interesting to see an old Technic pin too. Not very different, but it's a little thicker, I feel like. I don't know. Anyway, we'll get on to the second module. This little small craft here. You can see if you put your minifigure in there. I mean, I'd assume this is how you put your minifigure in there, but you can see when you put your minifigure in there, it kind of works as like a little bit of a tug, and it can just pull the back craft around. I mean, that's what I'd assume this is kind of for. Since this can't fly itself, you can use this to move it around. You can see on here, it's just got two levers, which always fall off on me. These nice little arrow prints, two thruster stabilizer thingamabobs, and some red lights. So it's a pretty nice, simple thing. Nothing super special, but it's also just a nice inclusion to get in this set. Anyway, now we're moving on to the big special thing. Now this set is part of the Lights and Sounds sets in the 80s. I don't think they went into the 90s, but in the 80s they had a bunch of Lights and Sound equipped sets. So that's what this is from. But we'll save that till the end of this module. But we'll just start looking at it right here, right now. You can see it's got plenty of arrows, one here and one here. More thrusters. Every single module has a thruster on it. And it's got just some lights on the top and bottom of it. Some engines on the bottom. At least that's what I assume they are, but maybe they're supposed to be landing gear. There's also some arrows down here, just denoting that you can pull this apart. As you can see, this one says, or I guess this one might be push them together and then the other one's pull it apart. I don't know, but it's certainly a thing. And up here, you can see a nice Classic Space logo. It's always a good thing to have on any Classic Space set, even though every single Classic Space set doesn't have a Classic Space logo. They should. They really should. Moving further on, you can see some more of these vent pieces. These are actually smaller than the ones on the main module, but still pretty nice. These are the 1x2 variant. And then here are these red antennas. You can see also there's green lights up here and the sound brick, which has 3 different modes. And we'll get into all of that when we go over the actual Lights and Sound system. But anyway, moving further on, here are the wings. Also, just a side note, there's these little white panels. Once again, another basic print of the 80s Classic Space sets, or actually probably even 70s too. I think in like some of the older sets. Well, 79, so I guess it's not the older sets. 7 years older. But anyway, past that, we have these really interesting wing designs with these nice tall pieces. Usually these are used on boats, but you can see it looks really interesting, and it creates definitely a very interesting design, very unique. I'll say that it's very, very unique. I don't know if it's because they couldn't attach wings because of the 9-volt box right here, or if it was just because they felt like this would be a really interesting thing to do. And I do think it's really interesting. It's really unique. It's not something I've really seen before on any other Classic Space sets, or really space sets in general. So yeah, it's really cool and really unique. And on the ends of these wings are whatever these are supposed to be. Probably just radar antenna dishes, things like that. But it's still really interesting. And this red on the back makes me think maybe this could double as an engine. Not that we need more engines, but that it could possibly do that. And then moving onto the center bit, you can see there's some red lights here. And then more of these really interesting pieces in the correct orientation rather than on their sides. And it comes up to this nice big thing with 2 more radar dishes, possibly 2 more engines, and this really nice big engine on the top using one of those pieces here, and then just some fins. It's really cool, really nice, really interesting. this is a very interesting and unique set. It's got a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff everywhere, like these really cool transparent yellow tubes, or I guess translucent tube piece, but this translucent yellow tube, it's really cool. It's really cool. Really just a unique set. Now, let's get on to the lights and sounds feature of this. You can see back here is the button, and the way you do this is you push it in, and then it gets locked down, and you can see the lights. They're very bright, especially from something from 1986. I mean, I say that because you'd think they'd wear out with age, but I don't know. I guess they're really good LEDs. And you can see that they have these really cool plates down here that have metal on them, I guess. And they of course bring the power in between each thing so you can see the lights. And then another cool feature is if you turn these around, they're solid, so you don't there's no flashing. And of course you can also take off the bulb covers so you can swap around the colors if you wanted to. Not that you need to, but it is just something you can do. These were also used in playsets, so you can imagine how cool that would have been. And also, the sound brick, which has 3 different versions. We have this version. I don't know how well it is on the video, or how well you can hear on video, but there it is. It's kind of fitting. And then silent again, and then one more. That one. Very space-oriented sounds. Definitely space in the 80s. I can say that much. But this is probably my favorite one. Although both of them are a little obnoxious if you have them just constantly going. But yeah, I mean, it's a really cool set. It's very interesting, very unique. A lot of part usages that are interesting and unique that I don't see often, like these big pieces for the wings and the fin. And just, there's a lot going on. There's tubes everywhere. There's just things everywhere. It makes a very interesting, unique, and just captivating design of a space set. Now, I do have, let me see, hold on. 1, 2, 3. I do have 3 more classic space sets. Oh, also, to turn this off, you have to pull it forward and up because it locks in. But I do have 3 more classic space sets that I have to look at. But the next video won't be that, because the next video will be on February 1st, otherwise known as the 5-year anniversary of Brick Bucas. Meaning I'll have some pretty important stuff going on down there. There. Important stuff will happen there. I'll make a big announcement on that day. And I'll probably just look at some classic builds from Brick Bucas history. So the next classic space video probably won't be till February 15th. And just before that, on Valentine's Day, I'm potentially going to release the next part of Minecraft World. I kind of had this idea of putting them on holidays because I did the first part on Christmas, so maybe the next one's Valentine's Day or Easter, something like that. I'm not sure 100%, but you'll see when it happens. So, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one, my 5-year anniversary video.